All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is January 25th, 2022, and today we've completed the focus note taking for state and national governments. Now, I want to remind you that even if you aren't here tomorrow on the 26th, you still have your benchmark, okay? And if you cannot complete it in class, then you'll have to take it at home. So, um, you'll have until February 4th to do that. You'll go over here to Schoology and make sure you go to this week, or you can just go down here to the this week folder, January, and the week of the 24th, and you see it right there. You click on this. When you click on it, it'll take you to Illuminate, and you will put your student ID or your student login information, the PUSD schools.net. Okay. So it gives you the code, it gives you your student login, and then you should be able to take it right here. Now, again, if you're not here, the window to take this exam will close on on February 4th. All right, February 4th. Now, the benchmark will cover things like the Articles of Confederation, the Federalists and Anti-Federalists, and the Bill of Rights. So go back to other videos that we have posted here on the channel for notes to get caught up, or you can read Chapter 7, 3 point, let me see, I think it's 3, we'll check here, 3.1 and 3.3, I think. Just double checking here. Yeah. Chapter 7, 3.1 and 3.3. And then the notes for today are from Chapter 7, 1.1. All right. So let's get to that. So remember, we set these notes up, I think, on a previous video. All right. But if in case you did not get them, okay, they're right here. We're creating order and the national plan, and you should have 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1 through 6. All right, so we did our reading in class. We answered the historical thinking questions for Chapter 7, 1.1. And we took our notes today. So let me show you some of the things that we covered. Okay, so you have these notes and you feel prepared for tomorrow's exam. All right, so quickly under creating order, there were 3 bullet points. All right, so number 1, under creating order. The first thing I want to emphasize here is that the state governments created their state governments based on the idea of republicanism. All right, and that was that the states and all of government got its power from the people. Okay, government's power comes from citizens and from their representatives. All right, so that's the first thing. Number 2, they also established constitutions because they wanted to protect individual rights, and they listed those rights in their state constitutions. So they wanted to make sure that they had that protected. And then finally, they didn't want any one person to have all of the powers. So they shared power. So in the states, they set it up with a governor or some type of administrative leader. And then their representatives were divided into 2 different houses, like Senate and the House of Representatives, similar to today. Okay, and that is known as a shared power system. Okay, where at least within the state, there was local power was shared, state level power was shared, town power was shared, that type of thing. Okay, so those are the 3. So if you need to go back and rewind, that. Okay, then the national plan. It's interesting how the states really, according to this reading, dictated to the national government its responsibilities, what it could and could not do. All right. So, for example, number 1, they gave in this paragraph second paragraph, they talk about the decisions for the military. So the states told this national government, and they agreed that they can make decisions for the military. Number two, and I consider this a limit, the states kept their sovereignty. They kept their own power to govern themselves. Okay. So they told the national government, you cannot really tell us or govern us for us. We will govern ourselves. Number three, another limit. Okay. They decided not to elect a president and not to have national courts. So, it doesn't mean that the states didn't have their own court system. They just didn't want a national court system because they felt that it would be abused and that power would be abused. So they would handle all of their own issues and self-govern in their own state. Now, what happens if two states argue and fight? Okay, who handles that? Normally, it's the federal court. Okay, but they decided not to have that. Number four, they gave these Articles of Confederation. Okay, the first Constitution of the United States, the Articles of Confederation. They told the plan was to let the national government deal with foreign affairs. They wanted them to deal with and negotiate with the Native Americans and protect them from the Native Americans. And they also gave the national government the power to declare war or peace. It also says here in the reading that they wanted the national government to create a post office. And finally, on the issue of money, and I wasn't able to highlight that because my pen died, but this was a limit. It was, you cannot create taxes. Okay, remember, they just broke up with the king of Britain. Okay, and it was, it was a bad breakup, and they, did not like the taxes, so they did not give this government under the Articles of Confederation the power to create taxes. And they also said, if you need money, ask us first. Ask us first. But you certainly can produce the money and give us all, like, the same dollar. You wouldn't want the dollar from New York to clash or interfere with the dollar from, Georgia, because they had different currency or different coins or different paper money. So those are the six. Okay. Be familiar with those. Those will show up on these ideas will show up on the benchmark, okay, because you will be asked, I think, one constructive response question about the Articles of Confederation. Next, we had the students take their notes. And remember, these notes can be found in Google Classroom at the very top. You should be able to find a copy. You'll just have to type in the topic and the essential question and then lesson 1.1. But then from there, we discussed some of the weaknesses. Like, man, why do they make the federal government so weak? All right. And we highlighted some of those. And then you're going to take those six and put them into a bubble map. All right. So you'll probably have to either do it on paper, or you can draw it in Google Draw or on Chrome Canvas or on Jamboard. And you just go ahead and, draw it. And then you're going to put the picture or the image, like I did here. You just copy and paste it in there, or you might have to download and insert it into your thinking map. So here is the summary. Okay. You may have to just make a text box somewhere on there if you have space. I forgot to put a section there for the summary. All right. But let's take a look. The states created power based on republicanism, on the idea of republicanism. And then in the next sentence, you'll tell me what republicanism is. It means that the power for government comes from the people. The Articles of Confederation was a plan or a model that only unified the states, not share power with them. It didn't share any power with the states. It just kind of unified them and managed them, but it didn't share any power with them. All right. So that wraps up state and national governments. Okay. Go back and rewind if you miss anything, and then be prepared for your benchmark. To help you prepare, if you go over to GimKit, you should see an assignment in your hub when you log in. It's on state and national governments. It just covers some of the vocabulary, that you may see on the test and some of the vocabulary that you may want to use in your constructive response. And then there's also the quizzes game. So there's a benchmark review over in quizzes. If you go to Google Classroom, okay, and look for the benchmark review, you'll see the link there in Google Classroom, and that link will expire at 11 o'clock p.m. on January 25th. Okay, so I'll use that assignment as a boost assignment that you can turn in if you complete it and you like your score. But we'll consider that extra credit. I'll put it in there. All right. So that is it. Good luck, and we'll see you tomorrow.